Hello students, let us start today with the Unit 4 from your English Access book from the first section of Unit 4, which is titled as World War Diaries. So I think you are aware of that as of now there has been two major world conflicts, two major world war, which we generally term it as the First World War and the Second World War. The First World War began in the year 1914 and it continued up till 1918. And whereas the Second World War, the duration of Second World War was from 1939 to 1945. The detail about this, both the world wars, you will get to know in your higher classes, especially in history. But today in this chapter, this will tell us that during the time of war, generally we all know that the one who is directly hampered are the soldiers, right? The soldiers of all those countries, those who participate in the war, and many of them they have to give up their lives. Some of them they have to come across unimaginable hardships and also many horrors, especially in the field of battle. But what this chapter will tell us is that there are also some other people who may not participate in the war directly, but however, even they are still affected by these wars and in many different ways. So that is what we are going to see in this chapter. This chapter is basically, it contains three short extracts from the personal diaries which were written during the period of these wars, during First World War as well as Second World War. And in this extract, these short extracts, we will see that the unusual things which took place during both the war, that is First as well as Second World War, and especially for those people who are not engaged into the war directly, or you can say that the ordinary civilians, I'm not talking about the soldiers, the ordinary civilians, that how are they affected, or what impression does they have with regard to the war. So if you look into your text, page 109, that is 109, you will see that the first extract is from a diary which was written in the year 1914. The diary of Fred Albright. So in that diary, actually Fred and Evelyn, they were on their honeymoon in London in June 1914. And as I told you, 1914 to 1918 is the period of First World War. Now what did Fred do is that he maintained a diary as a hobby. And when this World War I broke out, he kept, a careful record of all this event that took place during the time of war. So, as at the last bottom of page 109, you see a piece of writing from his diary is described, is mentioned out here, about the feelings and especially the mood of the British people when this war broke out. See, the date is mentioned August 1st, 1914. So as I told you, it's a personal diary. What do we write in personal diary? People, they write in personal diary about their own experiences, their own feelings, emotions, right? So I'll just read the diary, listen to it properly. Evelyn and I had often talked of keeping a diary before the war began and have even made some half resolutions. Now, however, events in European politics have reached such a crisis that I feel sure in after years I will reproach myself if a brief record of the daily events is not kept. So here, actually what he is trying to say is that, if he does not take note of such type of events which are taking at least record of, in a short way, just the main gist. Then he says that he would be very much disappointed. If you see the second paragraph, today the omnious rumble, the meaning of omnious and rumble is at the bottom of the same page, which means omnious, threatening, rumble, sound of guns in the distance. Today, the omnious rumble of warfare in the far Balkan states has created a tense feeling of dread. The whole city is alive, set strained. Set strained faces pass you in the streets, in the hotel corridors, in the restaurants. So, what he is trying to say is that, in his piece of writing, that yes, the whole city is alive, but however, in each one's faces, people's faces are filled with tense. And that can be seen even in the hotel corridor, in the restaurants, everywhere. Okay, that's what he is writing. He is writing the way the people felt during the time of war, the situation which they were undergoing. Alright. There is also a record of his writing of 2nd August 1914. Okay. So 1914, that is First World War. So this is the first extract from our personal diary. If you look at the second extract, which is his page 111, there some multiple pieces of writings are being mentioned. That is of 4th August, 10th, 7th May 1916, 15th April 1917. So if you look at the years, that is 1915, 16, 17 and 18. So all the writings are not mentioned of the diary, but however, the main events, the main message that we can get from this diary about the period of war, about the different eras, the different years of the wars, how people felt, what had happened, what was the effect on the civilians who were not directly involved, but however even they were affected. The next diary is of Ethel. Okay, you see, My War Diary 1914 to 1918 by Ethel M. Bilbrough. So written by Ethel. So there are some pieces out there, some extracts, some short pieces of his personal diary. Next comes the third extract, that is of Helga's, and this is especially with regard to the Second World War. The Second World War, as I told you in the beginning itself, it took place in the year 1939 to 1945. You are in class 8 now. As you go to class 9 next year, and even in your higher classes, you'll get a detailed picture of the Second World War. I'll give you a brief idea about the Second World War. The Second World War was mainly due to the Nazis, okay? A group which was led by Hitler. I hope you all have heard about Hitler, correct? Many a times I have come across students, naming teachers as Hitler, right? As even many of the students, they call me also as Hitler. I know. So yes, but that is not about me, okay? It's about the actual Hitler. About his cruelties, about his wrongdoings that he has done during his period. And because of because of his ideologies, because of Hitler's ideologies, how the people were executed, in fact, Hitler, he always had different techniques of executing people, and he used to go for mass killing. Mass means large number of people killed together. And there was one community which he disliked a lot, that was the Jewish community. But it was not that he only executed the Jewish community. In fact, you'll get to know that apart from his own community, that is German, he considered all other community to be of no any importance, okay? And as a result, he used to set up concentration camp. You see in page number 112, Helga's diary. It starts with a life in a concentration camp. What is concentration camp? Concentration camp is basically a place in which, large number of people, especially who are termed as a political prisoners, they are being imprisoned there in a kind of a small area, okay, with no proper facilities, and they are forced to do labor, and at last the end result of them is mass killing, mass execution. So go through that, page number 112, not 112, sorry, 112. So you will get a picture, you'll get an idea about the situation, about the environment, which which was there during the time of war, and the people, the type of different sufferings that the people had to undergo. Okay? So in one word, if I tell you, if I just sum up the chapter, that war destroys not only the soldiers, not only those countries, those who are participating, but in fact, it also has an adverse effect, okay, on those people, those who do not even participate in the war. Yes, the effect may not be direct, but it can be an indirect effect. But even others, the common man, the ordinary people, the ordinary civilians, even they have to suffer. The people, those who are not at all engaged in fighting during war, even they have to suffer. So this 3 pieces of diary tells us about those sufferings that an ordinary person has to come across during the time of war. Therefore, one must always avoid war. No matter at the end of the war, one may win, the other may lose. But even if you look at the outcome of that particular country who has won, if you check back the history, even that country who has won has lost his soldiers. In some way or the other way, it's affected. The people of that country is affected. So therefore, my dear children, with this chapter, the main message that we get, World War diaries, diaries, personal writing, that one must always avoid war, because during the war it is not only the soldiers, not only the forces, but also we, the common man, and everybody gets affected. Okay, please go through those 3 pieces of diary, and if you have any doubt, you can get back to me. Study well.